Hey guys, welcome to the second part of biological classification. In this video, we'll discuss Kingdom Monera, which includes all the prokaryotic organisms. Bacteria are considered as the sole members of this kingdom. These are the most abundant microorganisms, and apart from living in normal habitats, they also are found in extreme habitats, जैसे कि बहुत गर्म जगहों पर हॉट स्प्रिंग्स में, डेजर्ट्स में, स्नो में या डीप ओशन वेंट्स में. Bacteria can be categorized into four groups depending upon their shapes. पहला ग्रुप है जहां spherical बैक्टीरिया पाए जाते हैं. These are known as coccus. They are spherical in shape. In plural, we can call them cocci. Second group is of rod-shaped bacillus. Bacillus बैक्टीरिया रॉड शेप्ड होते हैं, प्लूरल में इनको बैसिलाई कहा जाता है. कॉमा शेप्ड विब्रियम और प्लूरल में these are known as vibrio. Spiral bacteria, they are called as spirillum, and in plural we can call them spirilla. So these are the different shapes of bacteria. You can see the cocci, these are round, spherical in shape. Bacilli, these are rod shaped. Spirilla, they are spiral, and vibrio is comma shaped. So let us discuss each of these groups one by one. Cocci, as you can see here, it is spherical in shape and it may occur as a single cell as a coccus, or after cell division when more than one cells are formed, they may remain attached to each other, and further classification will be on the basis of these kind of cellular arrangement. The first class is diplococci, second is streptococci, third is staphylococci, fourth is tetrads, and finally it is Sarcina. When two spherical shaped bacteria remain attached to each other as pair, they are known as diplococci. Example is Neisseria gonorrhea as shown here in this image. Second is streptococci, where a chain of spherical bacterial cells remain attached to each other even after cell division. An example of Streptococcus pyrogens is shown here invading into the human epithelial cell. Third group is of staphylococci, which is irregular grape-like clusters of the spherical bacterial cells. Example is Staphylococcus aureus. Tetrads are clusters of four spherical cells. The example here is Micrococcus. Sarcina is the cuboidal arrangement of 8 spherical bacterial cells, and the example is of Sarcina ventriculi causing gastric ulcer. Second category is of rod-shaped bacteria known as bacillus. The arrangement of cells are not as complex as cocci, but still we have got some types of arrangements like coccobacillus, diplobacilli, streptobacilli, and palisade. Coccobacillus is oval in shape and is similar to coccus. It is somewhere intermediate between the spherical and the rod-like structure. So the example of this group is Haemophilus influenzae. Diplobacilli is rods in pair, two rods connected to each other in such a way. The example is Moraxella bovis. The third type of bacilli is streptobacilli, where again we would have a chain-like arrangement of rod-shaped bacteria. Example is Bacillus subtilis. So here you see that many rods, they are connected to each other. So even after cellular division, they are not leading independent lives. They remain attached to each other. Finally, we have palisade, where the cells are lined side by side, and such kind of arrangement can be observed in the bacteria Corynebacterium diphtheri. As you can see here in several such examples in the image, a palisade kind of arrangement is shown. Bacteria that are spiral in shape can be classified into two types on the basis of their flagella. Spirillum is a group that contains rigid and external flagella. Examples are members of genus Spirillum, Helicobacter pylori, and Campylobacter jejuni as shown here in this example. The second type of spiral bacterial cells are spirochetes. They have flexible with internal flagella. The members of genus Leptospira, Borrelia, and Treponema, they belong to spirochetes. An example of Treponema palladium is shown here in this image with a flagella that is internal and flexible. Bacteria can also be classified on the basis of their mode of nutrition. Some bacteria are autotrophic, that is, they can synthesize their own food from the inorganic substrates. Autotrophs can further be categorized into photosynthetic autotrophs, wherein source of energy is light, and in chemosynthetic autotrophs, which derive energy from the metabolism of certain chemicals. However, majority of bacteria are heterotrophs, that is, they cannot synthesize their own food. Instead, they depend on the producers, the autotrophic organisms, for food, or they can live on the dead organic matter. We shall discuss each of these categories after a couple of slides. We can also classify bacteria into primitive Archaebacteria and the true eubacteria. Archaebacteria, they have certain unusual features that enable them to survive in extreme conditions. Some such features are lacking peptidoglycan in the cell wall or containing phytanyl side groups in the lipid molecules. Ribosomal proteins are also unusually acidic. Some of these Archaebacteria can even survive in the most harsh habitats. For example, the Archaebacteria thriving in extreme salty areas are known as halophiles. Those that can survive in hot springs are thermoacidophiles, and there are some Archaebacteria that are found in marshy areas known as methanogens. Halophiles are anaerobic coccoids. Wherever they are found, the habitat is rich in salt. And under culture conditions, they can be grown at high salt concentration as high as 25 to 35%. सनलाइट के प्रेजेंस में एक पर्पल पिगमेंट डेवलप हो जाता है इनकी बॉडी में which is bacteriorhodopsin to capture the sunlight. Second category of Archaebacteria is thermoacidophiles, which are the aerobic forms of bacteria found in hot sulfur spring. जब टेम्परेचर 80 के आसपास होता है तो they can oxidize sulfur into sulfuric acid that results in acidity of the environment and the pH falls to 2. अगर conditions anaerobic हैं तो they are not going to oxidize sulfur, instead they will reduce sulfur to hydrogen sulfide. Finally, the third class of Archaebacteria is methanogens, which are anaerobic bacteria, and they can be found in the rumen, which is first part of the gut of many ruminant animals such as cows and buffaloes. यहाँ पर they are responsible for the production of methane gas from the dung. The other category of bacteria which has a rigid cell wall made up of peptidoglycan, and if they are motile they can also have a flagellum, is known as eubacteria or the true bacteria. As discussed earlier, the true bacteria can be further categorized into photosynthetic autotrophs, chemosynthetic autotrophs, and heterotrophs. Photosynthetic autotrophs such as cyanobacteria or the blue-green algae, they have chlorophyll A similar to the higher plants. They are either unicellular, colonial, or filamentous, and they can be found in fresh water or marine water, or there are some terrestrial algae as well, which are found on land. Colonies of these cyanobacteria, they are generally covered by a gelatinous sheath. Water bodies are many a times polluted due to the algal blooms of such algae. They can also fix atmospheric nitrogen in specialized cells called heterocysts. Some of the examples of photosynthetic autotroph bacteria are nostoc and anabina. Chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria are unable to use solar energy to synthesize their own food. Instead, they can oxidize inorganic substances such as nitrates, nitrites, and ammonia, and they use the energy to produce ATP. They have a very important role in recycling of nutrients such as recycling of nitrogen, phosphorus, iron and sulfur is based on these chemosynthetic autotrophic bacteria. Finally, the heterotrophic bacteria are the most abundant in nature. Majorly, they are decomposers. They are able to decompose the dead decaying organic matter. They have very significant impact on human life. Apart from being useful in curd making or production of antibiotics and other therapeutics or fixing nitrogen in the legume roots, they are also responsible for causing several diseases in humans, plants and animals. Reproduction in bacteria is mainly by binary fission, where a cell grows, elongates, duplicates its genetic material, and then through a central constriction the two cells divides and two daughter cells are produced from a parent cell. Under unfavorable condition, they may undergo production of spores. Sexual reproduction is of very primitive type where DNA transfer from one cell to the other recipient bacterium cell takes place through a process known as conjugation. That is all for this video. In the next video, we'll be discussing Kingdom Protista. Please subscribe our channel to support us. Thank you.